Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to show you how to set up this Cuisinart Grind and Brew Plus coffee maker. The model number is SS-GB1, so they just released this. This has got a coffee maker on one side, a K-cup, but it also has a grinder with the coffee maker. So there is some initial setup. My first video I did is going to be, I did an unboxing. And so this video I'm going to show you how to set it up. So say you've just got your Cuisinart and this is how you're going to set it up. You got to run some water through it. You got these carbon filters we got to clean. My next video is going to be how to make coffee with it on the coffee maker side and the single serve side. Then I'm also going to do a comparison with this other Cuisinart, that it's a coffee maker and single serve coffee. I'll do a comparison with it. And then check out my videos later when you need to descale your coffee maker. I'm going to show you how to descale it with vinegar. So in the instruction manuals, they don't want you to run vinegar through it first. They just want you to run some water through the coffee maker. We don't need to descale it. I know some people will run vinegar through a coffee maker when they first get it, but all they want you to do is just kind of clean the inside of it with water by running water through it. So first, let's make sure we got it all installed right. You're going to make sure you got your needle basket in, the K-cup side over here. Now to do this, you've got to make sure you've got this installed. This is your grinder. Even though we haven't ground any coffee yet, it does have a safety switch. We want to make sure that all of this is installed. Same with here. This is the Brew Basket. Now it does come out. We don't need a filter. So your reusable filter may have came in there. You can take it out. It did come with some paper filters. You use either one of those. You don't use them at the same time. So we're gonna leave this nice and empty. Make sure we got the lid on there and close this. Kind of snaps. So let's do the water filters first. So here's you've got two reservoirs. You got a reservoir for the coffee maker side and a reservoir for the single serve side. They're independent, but each of them has their own carbon filter. So let's remove this. This is just the holder that fits down in that hole. And same with this. This is just a holder and it fits down in that hole. So they recommend you changing these every 2 months. It is nice that they give you two of them. So when you first start your coffee, you'll have carbon filter. Now, these are mainly to filter out chlorine. You know, if your water has a really bad chlorine taste. But I do recommend using them because water is so dependent on, or coffee is so dependent on water that these filters do seem to help. Now they're filled with carbon, but there's going to be some carbon dust in there, and we got to get that carbon dust out. So let's clean these. We got to let them soak first. So here I've got just a bowl of some fresh cold water. We're just going to let them sit in here. They want to let them sit in there for 15 minutes. Now you can see some of that carbon dust? This water is going to turn like a gray because you're going to get some carbon dust coming out of them. You don't have to squeeze them or anything, but I just want to show you that your water is going to start getting a little dirty. Now, each time you change those, you will have to repeat this. So when you get a new one, you do want to clean that carbon dust out of them first. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. You can see the water is a really dark gray now. So we're going to take the holders are identical for the single serve side and for the coffee maker side. And the filters are the same. So you're just going to take your filter. We're going to put it in. There's a flat side. And the flat side's going to go up here, and then this is kind of curved. So just like that. And these only open up from one side. We still need to rinse these for 10 seconds under the sink. So I'm going to rinse these under water now. I find it easier just with them in the holder to rinse them. You just want to get that water all through them to kind of finish up cleaning them. Okay, so now we're going to install them in the coffee maker. And that's where it goes. When it's down, it kind of sits there and it sits in that spot. Same with over here. Okay. So they do want you to rinse this with soap and water. This is your coffee carafe. And same with this, rinse this with soap and water. Okay, so I've got this filled up to the 12 mark. Let's put our lid on. just snaps on. So we got to pour the water into this reservoir now. So let's see how this pours. Not bad. Not bad. We can see the water's coming up on the side. So I had this filled up to the 12 mark, and I poured it in here. You don't get quite to the max, so I could put a little bit more water in here. So I'm going to make sure and close this, because I need all of this installed, especially so that micro switch is there. Close that till it should snap. And then I'm going to put the carafe. So I want to make sure all this is installed, or it will not work. There, make sure that you have to have the lid installed because there's a little plunger it's going to pop up, push up. So put that in. I've got the unit plugged in. Okay, so now since this is our setup procedure, we don't want the grinder to work. You know, I don't have any beans in there yet. So there's a button you can press to turn the grinder off. And it's right here. We're going to press this. That's going to light up. So now when I press the brew button, I'm going to press the carafe side. Okay, I don't want to use the single pod side. I want to use the carafe side, which is the coffee pot. I've got my grinder off, the carafe button. Now I'm just going to press this brew button right here. Well, press it once. The light doesn't come on right away. Okay. So I should have waited just a little bit. So press the grinder off, carafe. Just press it one time. So the button kind of glows. You can see how it's pulsing. This is all one button. It's not 3 different buttons. So just press it. That's going to brew the water through the machine to kind of just give it one final rinse. So it's a pretty quiet coffee maker. This is what you should be having. It's just clean water coming through. This is going to be really hot, so don't touch it. But it's just going to flow through here, there, and fill this up. And we're just going to throw this out when we're done, the water that's in here. Now you can't lift the lid. You can't do anything while this is brewing. So it does have a water light. This must be for this side. So we still need to fill. This is a separate water reservoir from the coffee maker side. Now we're not going to be able to do anything with the K-cup side until the coffee maker side is done. So this is probably going to take about 12 minutes. And then we're going to run some water. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and fill up this reservoir. This does not remove. And you got to be careful. There's no windows. So you got to watch. There is a max mark. Oops. Because it will leak out the back. So the K-cup side holds 40 ounces of water. Yeah, that light went away. But I still have to wait for the carafe side to get done before I can do anything over here. Again, if you overfill it, this is for the carafe side. Water will come out here. If you overfill this side, it's really close. It will come out this little hole. So I am noticing a little bit of odor come from this side. It does smell like, I don't want to say burnt plastic, but it just smells like a, you know, like a new appliance being turned on for the first time or something. It doesn't smell super bad, but I did get a little bit of odor from this side. So again, while this is pulsing, while it's brewing, this light's kind of turning on and off, and these lights are staying on. Miss Fiona likes to help, don't you? She likes to lay right where I'm working, don't you? You good girl. So I don't smell that coming from the coffee maker anymore. We're about at the 8-cup mark, little 7-cup mark. And that smell sort of went away. So if you put your nose down like right around here, you can sort of smell that smell. It smells like a new appliance, hot water running through a new appliance smell. Okay, so towards the end of it, we're almost to the 12 cup. It is kind of loud towards the end and kind of pops a little bit. So I'm definitely glad I cleaned it and ran that water through it. You know, sometimes I get coffee makers and I don't do that. But on this one, I'm definitely glad I did that just to kind of get some of that smell out of it. Okay, so it beeps at you like 4 or 5 beeps, and then this turns blue when you're done. So I'm just gonna, that leaves the warming plate on. So we're gonna dump this out. I'm gonna turn this off. So press that button. That turns the warming plate off now. So now I can go rinse this out, and I'm gonna wash this again. So let's look in here. I'm gonna rinse this out too. Now be careful, this is hot. The coffee maker was hot. But I'm gonna rinse this all out again, just because I had such a strong odor from it when I first did it. So I'm gonna rinse all that out with soap and water. Let's look in here. Now keep in mind, so now this thing would be considered ready for coffee beans, for you to brew a cup of coffee or a pot of coffee. Keep in mind, this needs to be dry. So this does get a lot of water in it, and it is kind of hot. So be careful. So if you want to start brewing coffee right now, you do have to take this out and dry it. Otherwise, it'll just make a kind of a mess when it grinds the coffee. So take that out, dry that, and then that'll be ready. And again, you could, make sure you wash this out with soap and water. I'm definitely going to wash any parts I can wash by hand with soap and water. I'm definitely going to wash because I did get a little bit of odor from this machine. So now let's go to the K-cup side. So we're going to lift this lever. Make sure our needle basket's in there. We don't want any K-cup in there. We're going to leave that nice and empty. You got your top needle. So we're just going to push this down. Okay, so make sure you've got a big mug because that water coming out is going to be really hot. Again, I've got my water reservoir filled up. I've got this empty, but I got to make sure it's closed. I'm going to hit the pod. So every time I hit this pod button, it changes the ounces. They want you to run a 10 ounce of just plain water through this, and we're going to hit the brew button. That's pulsing again. The pod light is on. I still show 10 ounces, and this should be heating up on this side and eventually run some water out. Okay, so that took about 30 seconds. It kind of made some sounds, and I've got water coming out. So I stuck my nose down around here. I don't get that strong odor that I had over here when I was running water through the machine. So this smells pretty normal. Okay, so it's finishing up. I can hear a motor running still, even though water's not coming out. But I'm not going to touch the machine until it says it's done. Okay, so you don't get a beep on this side. The pod light went out and this went back to time. So we're done on the K-cup side. You've rinsed. Now what we did here, this is called a fresh water rinse. You want to do these at least once a week. If you're using the K-cup side, that's a really good idea just to run water through here to kind of clean out the needle basket and just kind of flush this all out. So I'll just empty that out. And now you don't have to dry this side or anything because you're just going to put a K-cup in here. So this concludes the setup. Now I'm going to show you a detailed review on how to brew coffee on the K-cup side and the carafe side. I'm also going to show you how to set the time. This thing has auto brew. I'm going to show you how to do that. It has a bold setting. I'm going to go through all of those settings. I'm going to show you how to use the filters. We're going to use the grinder. So check out my next video. It's going to be a detailed review. I will put a link to this in my show notes. So if you do purchase it through the link on Amazon, I am an Amazon affiliate. I do get a little bit of money from that. The product doesn't cost you anymore, but it's just a way of showing support for me. So thanks everybody for watching. And if you could, please like and subscribe.